Well, you know, conferences like this, they are absolutely necessary to make sure that the cooperation on the anti-corruption track under the leadership of the UN develop and just exist altogether, because it's events like this that sees the decisions being made that are necessary to further function for the anti-corruption mechanism under the UN leadership, because the United Nations exists of the member states, and the member states in the end define the further direction of the activity of the organization. And throughout these 5 days, and we need to sort of come up with decisions that in the next 2 years until the next conference are going to define the way that the anti-corruption cooperation is going to take place. You see, the decisions are being made in such a way, you know, that's what the country states want to make, because any decision is a compromise. It's compromise in terms of approaches, it's taking each other's opinion into account. So here, of course, it is necessary to walk towards each other, and without it, not a single decision can be made, especially that following the tradition of such conferences, the decisions are consensus made. So the voting, even though in theory it's possible, it's potentially, and here we are going to do without voting, and it's going to be a consensus for everything. But when it comes to commentary, I don't know whose commentary, that these decisions are too general, they are not just general. They provide a framework for cooperation, and they contain a very decisive ideas. They give guidelines to the UN Secretariat as to how and in which way to act, and these decisions are necessary to distribute the funds, the budget funds of the United Nations in terms of anti-corruption projects. I don't think that they are very blurred or broad. These are the decisions that are necessary for the anti-corruption cooperation to function within the UN framework. First of all, there have been 2 very large-scale events on the side yesterday. The Commercial Chamber, together with the Legislature Institute of the Government of the Russian Federation, had an event that was dedicated to the partnership of state and business in battling corruption, and also the plenipotentiary on business with the President of the Russian Federation held an event that tried to explain the functions that his institution carried, that his position has been created relatively recently and is rather unique for the international community, because not all countries have such an institution, which is very useful to protect the rights of businessmen. So within these enterprises, the Russian side has shared with the international community its experience, and on the other hand, it managed to take a lot of useful ideas from other states. And generally, aside from the decisions that I talked about, conferences like this are a very useful ground for communication, for the members of the delegations, for the experts, for the representatives of the various law enforcement organs, anti-corruption organs, and apart from actually making decisions, they're also exchanging whatever they've collected. So this is a mutual enrichment process in terms of anti-corruption experience, the experience in battling corruption as in the law enforcement meaning, but also in terms of prevention corruption, and the inclusion of the civil society and the academic circles, working with the young people, working in the sphere of education, and so on and so forth. So these grounds, they're very useful in terms of cooperation and experience exchange on the expert level.